Hylissang and for Carzzy. Hylissang uses the Pheromancy to try and get a shield. Won't be able to get away from this one as Razork claims first blood.
Okay, flash in Renata. I mean, we can go on the...
Yeah, we can still
Maybe Sivir is split here somewhere. Okay, I'm looking. Okay, Sivir is there, Sivir is there.
Walk on.
Yeah, he's jumped.
No flash. Go forward, guys, I think, no?
Oh,
Okay.
out. Okay, look German. Okay,
he fucked up.
we go forward.
Go. Renata no flash.
Okay,
Renata
Yeah, German factors.
Side base.
Oh, RTP.
Good job, guys.
Good to hear from the Mad Lions in that previous game. You see, Rekkles was taking the stage, still with the Boaster headband. I was going to call it a band-aid, which obviously...
The Boaster band?
Maybe they need a band-aid to fix some of the problems that they had in Game 1. Felt very much that Rift Herald fight was the crux of the matchup.
I agree. When I kind of look at the drafts, I think both were fine. I think both had clear win conditions.
Yeah.
I think it was possible for either team to win, but as you rightly said, that first Herald was chaotic, to say the very least.
Was.
Everything about the setup around it was also like very stressful for both sides, and it was MAD that ended up coming out on top. Props to Elyoya for being decisive enough to find that fight. But we'll see how things pivot in Game 2. Of course, the teams will now swap sides. Mad Lions find themselves on red with Fnatic on blue. What will the priority be? What are they going to do about that Kennen? Do they consider it a big enough of a risk? Is it something that you want to try and shut down or just ban away? Maybe even pick yourself? The Olaf ban makes a lot of sense to me now because it very clearly shows that MAD do have this high priority on the Kennen and it's something that they're willing to first pick. And over in the LPL and the LCK, this is something that they would just first pick, right? Kennen seems safe enough and strong enough into many matchups that teams don't really care. So we'll see how what adaptations rather both these teams make as we move into Game 2.
I'm curious if we get the Gragas again coming through for Nisqy. It's just such a strong pick for him, so much comfort, an 83% win rate over the course of his career. It feels like just giving that over to Mad Lions is a bit of a mistake, so we'll have to see if they decide to change it up as Mad Lions move over to the red side.
Yeah, Fnatic electing blue side is important to note. The loser gets to decide what side they are on. We can't ban away once again. No real surprises with Hylissang as your opposing support. There's the Olaf ban, Annie as well. Expect Mad Lions will go Xayah as well.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe you disagree, Dagda, but I feel like Annie should be a red side ban. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like that just because of how powerful the pick is, everyone around the world all agrees, super strong. If you're being forced to ban it on the blue side, I feel like that it kind of showcased some of the limitations of Fnatic's draft.
Yeah, and I think the thing is they kind of want Humanoid to be on something that's a little bit more roam heavy. I think that's when they look most successful, like the Lissandra that we saw banned away in the last game, where he can actually have an impact towards sides, towards early team fights, and he can do some of that. It's just not as easy to get a roam off on her, so I can kind of understand where they're coming from, but we'll have to see is the LeBlanc, the Lissandra, a lot of the picks that Humanoid likes are still up and available.
Jack's the final ban here, so Xayah makes her way through, Jayce as well, and alongside that Kennen all sneak through the draft. There's the Jayce immediately for Oscarinin in the top lane, we expect.
All right, Chasy, now just insta-lock Aurelia and I'll be happy. Thank you very much. Sejuani already locked in. Great, that's perfect. Sejuani, Aurelia, love that combo. We have seen Chasy's Aurelia before. We know it can be a good matchup into the Jayce, but I would be surprised to see it this early in the draft. Instead, something like the Zeri, maybe the Xayah, just something relatively safe to put in the hands of Carzzy. Makes a lot of sense right now.
Yeah, with the Viband, I think going towards the Zeri makes a lot of sense. Gives you that just monstrous late game scaling in the bot side, great skirmish potential, and you have the opportunity as well to maybe even look for the Lulu, but maybe Chasy wants to try and bring out something a little bit funky like the Aurelia in that next pick, but I think just getting a solid bot lane here for Mad Lions probably going to be your best bet.
With the Maokai and the Xayah locked in, Fnatic have shown their hand, shown exactly what they want to do through this game. A little bit of poke, some safety for Rekkles once again. And now Mad Lions will look towards their next pick.
I really think Sylas could be a good pick here. Not only do I love it into Maokai, but I also think that given you're picking it now, you have the ability to ban away a lot of the matchups that you could be worried about.
Also, just the fact that you see a lot of long range stealing away, that Maokai ultimate can do a lot of work for you and just trying to help with some of these engages. But Renekton immediately going to be taken for chasing the top side, which is kind of surprising, but does say that more than likely Elyoya is going to be willing to play around this top side to make sure that Renekton gets an okay time against the Jayce.
Yeah, it does have a similar idea as the Aurelia with the ability to proc that passive from the Sejuani very quickly. You can permafrost people, you can get them stunned up. But now we look towards the support in terms of ban. Mad Lions trying to remove some of the engaged potential, Fnatic trying to remove some of the disengaged potential. And expectations are that we'll see probably a relatively similar support pool to Game 1.
I'm curious if they actually go for the Nada ban here for MAD Lions. I think, again, you've got a ton of range that you could potentially play with here, with the Jayce, with the Xayah, and just make it a little bit uncomfortable for MAD Lions to try and fully engage and buy space. But we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is here. I think either way, MAD Lions, with that Lulu gone, not really going to be able to see a big pairing here. More than likely going to go for something a bit more engage-centric when it comes to Hilly in that bot lane.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think of what they could be thinking of by taking away the Talia. Maybe they're worried about... Maybe MAD want to pick the Ahri themselves. Yeah. Maybe the... could even be the Sylas still that they're thinking about.
I think it's the Lissandra, because obviously you're very telegraphed with it when you go in. You've got the shove back as well that can come through. But also, I think it's just, you know that you probably need some sort of engage here. Okay.
Oh, I mean,
mid lane Maokai
I
or
will
mid
say,
lane Renekton.
Jayce, you always have to remember that Jayce can be flexed.
Yeah.
That's always one of the risks, right? So
technically Renekton as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? So clearly still worried about this Malphite and where it could go. Fnatic likely wanting to keep their options open. I think this next pick will be the support. Soraka.
Okay.
Really? Soraka.
I mean, they're not synonymous.
Really? Soraka.
Yeah, it feels weird to say that.
I'm trying to think if I've ever said that before.
Have you heard of Battle Sage in Valorant? This is Battle Soraka. Flash forward silence. Let's go.
Yeah. I need to look that up. I need to find out if he's ever played. I can't think of a time Hylissang's played Soraka. He must have in his long career at some point.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, Advienne gonna go towards the Blitzcrank. We've seen this pop up a lot in several different games, even here in the LEC. But I think, I was about to say, it seems a bit of a weird one to lock in here, because you're kind of going, hey, look, we want to set up for big team fights, but we're going to be looking to go in with the Maokai, the Kennen. You got a ton of AD damage coming through from your Jayce and your Xayah. The pull will work in lane, just seems a bit anti-synergistic as you start to move in towards the actual team fights.
Hilly has 3 Soraka games in his history, Vedi.
Yeah, what?
One at Worlds last year against Cloud9, and then 2 at Rift Rivals.
What? 2 at Rift Rivals?
One in 2019 Rift Rivals and one in 2018 Rift Rivals.
Hey,
he lost the Worlds one, but he won both the Rift Rivals one. So.
It's just crazy to me that in his near, from what I can tell, what, 600, 700 games? Only 3 Soraka games, 2 of which were Rift Rivals. So, yeah, a rare sight to see for Hylissang for sure. But there is that Sylas pick. Happy to see that it did come through for MAD Lions, and I think it is fantastic into what they're going up against. Kennen, the Maokai. There are situational uses as well for Blitzcrank with the silence AoE, the fact that you also get additional scaling with the AP. Like, I think that the Sylas pick makes a lot of sense and you have a lot of options. The matchup in mid will be a little bit trickier, but overall, looking good for the Sylas pick.
I think their topside skirmishes are incredibly strong, though. When you got the Sylas, Sejuani, the Renekton, a lot of opportunities to try and look for plays up there, particularly around Rift Herald. And that's kind of where you see, especially in the LPL, the Renekton, the saves flash, they go ham on the Rift Herald play, try and secure that, and see if you can snowball that topside through that early advantage.
We hear the Fnatic fans in the audience, joined by that singular Eintracht Spandau fan. And some Carmine Core fans, unsurprisingly. The blue wall is here. We're going to get into our game 2. MAD Lions taking on Fnatic.
Okay, this Soraka skin does not look like Soraka. Okay.
I mean, that one looks like Sejuani.
That one looks like Sejuani, but when I saw Soraka running down bot lane, my immediate thought was, kind of looks like Jayce, right? with the color scheme, it kind of, it looked like she had a hammer. It looked like she had a hammer. I'm just saying, man. That skin is wild.
We need to get your eyes checked.
That skin is wild, man.
Recently?
I'm telling you, man. That skin is wild to me. Anyway.
Well.
Random sidetrack, but I'm sad not to see any crazy level 1 Blitzcrank. My solo queue games, I've always been invaded by Blitzcrank.
But it's kind of predictable at this point. Yeah. So to truly outmind game your opponents, you don't invade.
You don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a delayed invade even. I know delayed invades with Blitzcrank can be pretty effective, but for the time being, looks like nothing too crazy. A bit of early vision invested from Razork to get some information on where Elyoya is. Oh, and Elyoya going to sweep that one away. He's still likely going to start on his top side. But something that we saw from 113 last time that Fnatic played this matchup specifically was 113 cleared his bot side and then immediately invaded onto the Maokai and used the bot prio to basically make his life miserable because the Sejuani has so much more trading power than the Maokai does in the early laning phase. I don't expect that to happen this game. This Hyli does get hooked in. Don't think Hyli's going to be too upset about that though, as both Carzzy and Hyli walk up. Now that the hook is gone, there's nothing that they need to be afraid of. But yeah, it looks like full topside clear for Elyoya, likely pathing towards bot. May look for an early level 3 gank top though. We'll keep our eyes on him. Same thing for Razork as he clears out his bot side camps.
He is moving down towards this, the Krugs on the bottom side here for Razork though, which makes sense. He's probably going to try and make some sort of play onto this bottom side. Maybe that hook at level 1 to see, hey, can I burn a summoner spell if Hyli panics or anything? But kind of low. I don't know if he fully wants to commit to this bot side.
We'll heal up a little bit as he takes down the Krugs, and there's vision here for Mad Lions. Wave pushing in. They fell foul of this a little bit in game 1 when they were trying to crash the wave, but with them actually managing to get the wave towards the tower, it becomes a little bit easier for them to dodge any possible gank. Elyoya looking towards this mid lane though. Wave not in the best shapes for a Sejuani gank. Could have just been covering, perhaps, if Razork had decided to go from bot to mid.
Yeah, I think it was just in case the Razork went for some sort of transitional gank in mid lane. He's there just to cover, and now he'll fall back into his own jungle. Knows he didn't really have to worry about timing because he'd spotted Razork after clearing 3 of his camps on bot side. And it just looks, 3x4 is 12, so you can tell fairly quickly what sort of camps have been done on the bot end.
Once again, we see the Kennen getting ahead in the matchup. This time, though, in Oscarinen's favor. Chasy kind of getting a taste of his own medicine here in this matchup. Kind of to be expected. Kennen is just so oppressive in the laning phase. A lot of it does come from his W. The fact that on your 5th auto attack, you do get that additional charge auto attack that then apply that 1 stack, and then you hit them with the W, and it's really easy trading. And if you can land the Q as well, stun them up, extra auto, and that's largely why they also go for that Doran's blade in the early laning phase. And again, it's obnoxious, it's a pain, and you generally just have to go Doran Shield to mitigate as much of the harassment as possible.
Yeah, and it is a bit of a skill matchup in the top side where it's about trying to balance the ability to, hey, am I going to be in range to auto attack versus potentially Renekton just diving in on top of me, and it's very much that back and forth. So at the moment, Oscarinin doing a good job of keeping Chasy in check and not really giving that opportunity for the Renekton to all in. Razork even starting to move up here to make sure that Oscarinin can keep that control by trying to spot out where Elyoya is, but I would love if he could get a slightly deeper ward there, because you see Elyoya moving back up towards this top side, could try and make a play on Oscarinin as this wave starts to go in.
Yeah, just as you call it, Dagda, the ward will be dropped. I thought he was going to drop it in the tri-bush, but I think he's worried about Sejuani going over the wall, which Elyoya right now is about to do. In theory, he should be spotted, but there is that pocket of vision where you don't get spotted, isn't there? Yep, and that's it. Elyoya will navigate his way through it.
Okay, so he's now going to Arctic Assault
into
the bush. Unless the wave is pushing in which case you can just go for a full tower dive, but he can Q over into that bush.
Are they going to dive? They're going to dive!
Elyoya takes the tower, there's the stun, there's the CC. Oscarinin flashes, but Chasy flashes to chase him. And Mad Lions dive the rat in the top lane and get first blood.
Unbelievable awareness from Elyoya. The fact that Oscarinin knew that he would try and go over the Baron wall, and he still gets around that. So impressive from Elyoya. So incredibly impressive. They find first blood onto Oscarinin. He gets Chasy ahead once again, and Medic, when we last cast the Mad Lions, we talked about how this team has struggled to get Chasy ahead. This was a team that they tried to, in their last best of 3, even bring Nisqy up to top side and play through him, and against Vitality, they just couldn't do it. Now, though, against Fnatic, they're finding so much success, and they're really enabling their top laner.
Advienne has left Rekkles all by his lonesome down towards this bottom lane for a while here. Razork coming in. Elyoya does manage to secure some, but there's the twisted advance. The hook has to be flashed by Elyoya. And it is part of the difficulty with it, like a Soraka Zeri lane, is you don't really ever have kill threat on the Xayah if she just stands back. So Advienne can take all the time in the world that he wants just to be anywhere else on the map.
Now moving up towards this top side, they want to make a play happen. Chasy gonna just hit level 6 as this comes through. No flash available though. This is dangerous.
Yeah, Humanoid's on his way up here as well. Advienne just enough mana for the Q. Chasy, no flash as you say. There's the Dominus early. Razork looks to take the tower aggro. Slicing Mouser coming in as well. The knock up, and Advienne takes it. Not not who you want, but Fnatic will be happy for the kill.
They really wanted to kill Chasy on that one. The entire squad nearly making their way up towards that top end. MAD respond well though. Nisqy pushes in mid, they get Dragon, and now potentially looking for the play into Rekkles, who's still level 5.
TP available for Humanoid, so if Rekkles can survive for a couple of seconds, maybe he can do something. Flashes away, there's the TP. The wave tanked by Hylissang. The tower, in fact, there was 1 minion left in that wave. MAD Lions able to get out, just getting the TP from Humanoid.
So Fnatic get an advantage top. They don't lose anything, but Rekkles continues to farm alone. He is a little bit behind in gold, but this wave should help him out. Overall, though, Fnatic, that sequence of events was very clean. The fact that they invaded onto Elyoya together, forced him to go back to base, and then converted that into a top lane play off the back of Humanoid pushing Nisqy underneath his tower and forcing him to go back to base so that he also has to TP back into lane, means that they can dive top and then also react to the cross-map play bot, even though Humanoid knows that he's going to be behind in tempo, thanks to the fact that he keeps that TP. So overall, just a really smart sequence of events from Fnatic.
I actually really like this from Fnatic as well. Advienne popped the Scryer's Bloom to force Nisqy to think the top side was safe. Nisqy then passed towards the top side. Razork comes in and Nisqy falls in the mid lane. Really intelligent stuff from the Fnatic support and jungle.
And now the Soraka response.
Let's go, bananas!
So it's an actual silence for Helium top lane.
It is. Oscarinin able to dash his way away from that one with the lightning rush. There is a huge wave stacked up here, and he doesn't have the slicing maelstrom, nor does he have flash, and because of that, kind of has to respect the fact that MAD Lions are in the area. The lightning rushes away once again. Hylissang's bone plating is procced, but the wave is dying to the tower. 1 plate so far over to MAD as Fnatic look to react.
So you can see that MAD lost a massive wave top lane as a result of that dive that happened. And MAD now trying to do the same thing where you can't necessarily get kills onto Oscarinin, but you can force him to lose farm, which will inevitably help close the gap between the two top laners. You can see now only a 200 gold gap between Chasy and Oscarinin. So even though he did lose so much farm, he's still in a comfortable position thanks to being able to pick up those plates.
Nisqy, no ultimate for this, and Chasy not having flash means that this is actually a bit of a dangerous one for MAD Lions, especially if Advienne can pick someone off, but...
Glacier Prison just wide, Advienne looking for something. Nature's Grass coming out as well from Razork, but at the moment they're in a 4v5. The hook only onto Elyoya, the Rift Herald secured by the MAD Lions. Advienne still chasing forward, Humanoid a little late to the party. Oscarinin can slice his way through them. There's the stun, good shot blast for some extra damage. Twisted advanced in by Razork, but they don't have the damage to solidify any kills. In the end, MAD get out and get the Rift Herald.
Just about. Unfortunately, Oscarinin not quite able to get into position. You even got Carzzy pushing in the spot side as well, so nice job by MAD Lions to get in and get out. And this is kind of where, again, we see Fnatic starting off the bat well, but when it comes to these objectives, not quite able to get themselves in position, and it's a bit heartbreaking to see. Like, but every time Fnatic seem to look so good, they just can't quite get 1 or 2 more things going their way.
It's a very scrappy game between the two teams. Every time it feels like Fnatic.
Yes, Fnatic.
Every time Fnatic are able to make a smart move on the map, MAD are able to make a smart move of their own. And both teams going toe-to-toe in this early game. Small gold lead for now in favor of Fnatic. The Dragon is spawning in about 1 minute 30. Will be the next major objective you have to keep your eyes on. But Chasy, with this Herald, will be looking to, understandably, use it in the top lane. There is a world where he could hold on to it, perhaps look to group with his team in mid, and then drop it mid lane instead to help them secure priority, which then gives them access into the river. And as he's resetting, it looks like that he will be pathing back up to top. Let me have a quick look at the cooldown on his TP. Looks like that he's got... Oh, the observers will do it for me. 62 seconds, so it will be up before the Dragon spawns.
It looks like Oscarinins is about the same timer as well.
About the same timer. Thank you very much, observers.
I think the big thing, though, is the flash has been available for both these top laners. Like, your impact on Renekton and Kennen can be so prevalent on whether you have that summoner spell available. And Oscarinin, though, isn't going to be as strong as you typically expect. Is going that Riftmaker build, so going to take a bit of delay on getting to, like, Riftmaker into Cosmic Drive. But once you have those 2 items, you hit people 3 times, you proc your Cosmic Drive, proc your Riftmaker, and you do so much damage. So wait a little bit until this Kennen properly comes online, but when he does, he's going to hit hard.
It really is, and Humanoid currently the big beneficiary of gold. You saw Chasy taking a few tower shots there down towards, up towards the top lane, but Humanoid's about to back. He's 1.3k ahead I wonder if this is first item completion for him. Krakenslayer finished on Rekkles. Humanoid's going to go back and get an Eclipse, and with 14 seconds on a Dragon, what a perfect time to start getting your Mythics in order.
The only problem is, I was going to say Fnatic going to be late to the play, but Razork has seen an overextended Nisqy.
Hylissang's here though. Razork is going to get the knockback onto Nisqy. Nature's Grasp, his ultimate available to him, decides not to use it for the moment. And I really think this next fight could be dictated by how the Equinox is used. It's so easy to catch out a carry if you stun them with the Renekton, put the Equinox down. They can't flash, they can't dash, they can't get away, and you can lock them up for a very long time. But Advienne trying to lock up Nisqy, pulls him back with the hook, flashes away. That's the Sylas summoner down for the time being.
And this, to me, suggests that MAD Lions are willing to concede the Dragon. They're going to drop the Herald top, maintain this point of pressure in the top side of the map. Teleport has been used by Oscarinin, which means that MAD actually have numbers advantage. Nisqy has his TP up as well. But I'm seeing the movement of Elyoya, and it is away from the Dragon. So this suggests that they're looking at a dive top lane right now.
I'm kind of surprised, especially when he had Nisqy with his own TP to get back. Chasy could even walk down towards that bot lane because the Riptail charge and then look for the Dragon play, but instead decide not to go for it. Can't really go for a dive either with where the wave's positioned in top.
I wonder if they'd had the Awaken TPs, maybe it would have been more favorable, but because you have to TP to the tower, I wonder if MAD was saying, we don't, even if we TP in, like how much of an positional advantage is it actually going to give us?
Yeah, I think with Chasy having the push in top, he was literally already halfway down towards mid lane, so I think he could have just walked towards there and then caught wave top for TP. But yeah, I mean, MAD Lions end up giving it up, give control again towards Fnatic on towards the Infernal Dragon, and Elyoya now trying to see if he can get this dive.
Oscarinin has flash, has but the Glacial Prism will lock him up for the moment. Slicing Maelstrom coming out as well. There's the flash away. In the end, two ultimates for an ultimate and a summoner burn. You can actually see Razork with the Hex Gates looking for this flank position. The tower still stands. Razork has the Nature's Grasp, but with a minion wave coming in, it'll be very tricky for Advienne to find a hook.
Advienne and Razork have been a consistent roaming duo this game. I think Advienne has spent, well, a very little time bot lane. Chasy's back, gonna get interrupted once again. The ultimate comes through, Chasy no ult.
Elyoya on his way. Chasy, tank the tower. Razork looking for something, twisted advance. Chasy flashes forward, dashes in and gets the kill! Beautiful stuff from Chasy, absolutely isolates Oscarinin. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, you can see Hylissang and Carzzy taking that tower in Rekkles' face.
The ultimate from Hylissang was so crucial in turning that play around for Chasy. He just needed to build up that fury so that he could commit to the play. Earlier, he had skills on cooldown, which is why he couldn't secure that kill underneath the tower onto Oscarinin. This time around, though, he was ready, and they were able to get a punish. 2-2 is the kill score. Razork and the TP now coming in from Humanoid.
No ultimate for the Maokai. Chasy has the slice and the dice. Can try and use it through Razork. There's the twisted advance. Slices gets knocked back with the Bramble Smash. That's the power of Renekton. Can always just dash through you and get away from these sticky situations.
Timing there was very nice from Chasy.
Yeah, MAD have been doing a brilliant job of playing around Chasy in this top side, actually getting control now for the Renekton. 1,000 gold lead, keeping Oscarinin in check. We'll have to see if they can try and keep this one up as Gordrinker now completed. Humanoid, going to see if he can get the tower, but Chasy here to clear out the wave.
So when we kind of look at the game in its entirety, Chasy, once again, looking to get attacked. Oh, perhaps not. Razork actually just stealing away some of those camps. We can see that heavy investment from MAD Lions towards the bot lane. Overall goal looking in favor of Humanoid, but Carzzy and Chasy hot on his heels. Nisqy, very poor right now. Really has struggled in terms of some of the pressure that's been thrown down, but also Humanoid securing so many plates in the 1v1 matchup has really benefited the Fnatic mid laner. He's going to have to, right now, be the big carry in this mid game. His poke is going to be important, as Oscarinin is the target once again.
It's like week one all over again. Constantly Oscarinin the target. Dodges everything, though. The lightning crash coming out. Carzzy tanking the tower now. Elyoya is going to do it afterwards. Radiant Virtue giving him a little bit of healing as Oscarinin looks for the trade. The permafrost, though, Oscarinin going a little bit too deep as he thought he could take out the 1v1. Meanwhile, Rekkles coming in looking for a little bit more for himself. Elyoya, flash available to him. Rooted up, gets to the blast cone. Won't get away. Rekkles with a double. Advienne chasing Carzzy down. Pulls him in, hooks him up. Could have gifted the kill, but sometimes you got to take those as a support.
It doesn't matter who takes them. Fnatic fight back against MAD Lions, getting themselves 3 kills on that bot lane. And we were talking about, hey, look, you need Humanoid to step up, but in this potential elimination game for Fnatic, it looks like everyone is stepping up to take the place.
I think it was just such an overzealous dive from the MAD Lions. They saw Oscarinin with no flash. They thought that, hey, this is easy pickings. This Kennen is incredibly weak, but Let's have a look. Was it dodges or was it misses?
It dodges so much.
So, initially, the exhaust does come down onto Oscarinin. The ultimate goes very wide, I feel.
Okay, maybe it was a miss.
And it's Hylissang tanking the tower initially, but you can see they just don't have the CC. I think this is a bit of a misplay from Oscarinin. I guess he kind of gets funneled into an awkward spot, but at the end of the day, he buys time. And that's all he needed to do, to wait for the rest of Fnatic to collapse. Rekkles then comes in from mid lane, able to secure the kill onto Hylissang and Elyoya. And I agree, Medic. I think that this gold could have been funneled over, but you know what? Advienne.
There's the hook god hand himself. Rekkles on a killing spree now.
He makes up for it.
He makes up for it. Exactly that. He's like, oh, you wanted that? Let me just get you another one. Let me get you another one. Great hook comes in from Advienne. And Fnatic now break open the mid tower. And just like that, it feels like that the momentum has quickly shifted in Fnatic's favor.
With Dragon in 20 seconds as well. They can try and keep this one up. Looking for Nisqy. Doesn't realize that there's a ward just there.
X-Flash. Nature's Grass stolen away by Nisqy. Carzzy will be up in 5 seconds time. Fnatic only 3 players actually in the river right now. You can see Oscarinin pushing in the bot lane. Wants to get that tower down as well if he can. Humanoid is answering Chasy, the 2 most fed players on either team, although I think Rekkles might be moving up towards a pretty high goal total himself. Humanoid has TP, but now he's worked his way from the mid lane down towards joining his team. Looks like MAD Lions won't contest the 3rd dragon of the game. Fnatic will get it, their first Hex Drake, and puts them on 2 in total.
But MAD Lions had committed a lot of members down towards this bottom side, so I'm curious to see if they're trying to respond to Fnatic as they start to shift into this bot lane, because Jayce, in theory, could have been threatening that tier 2, but instead, looking for Oscarinin once more.
It's week 1 vibes, is what it is. Just everyone's like, okay, this guy's a rookie, we can isolate him, we can catch him out, and of course, Oscarinin, since that point, has shown why Fnatic have put favor into him, why they put trust into him, but here, he steps up without the vision line, dashes away with the lightning rush, Elyoya on the chase! Okay, Oscarinin didn't dodge that one either. They're still going to be able to get him with the permafrost, but the slicing mouse are coming out as Humanoid knocks Elyoya back underneath the tower. MAD Lions trying to put some more damage down. They do have the wish from Soraka. Humanoid flashes a good double stun, but there's the wish. And a little bit of healing on Chasy keeps him topped up for the moment as the shock blast is just a little bit short. Advienne coming in from the side here. Rekkles going to use the Hex Gates to try and join with his team. But with there being a tower still standing here, it feels a little bit greedy to go deeper, Fnatic. Razork caught out by Carzzy. Rekkles diving in as well. There's the twisted advance. And Carzzy dashes over the wall. Rekkles, she flashing for it! Into the lightning rush. The immortal shield bow is not there at all. Razork onto Hylissang. Pulled underneath the tower's grasp, but the nature's grasp comes out. Flash away from Nisqy. Hooked in once again. And Fnatic find the fight.
Fnatic are coming alive in this game, say it here. This is how you use the ultimates, my friends. Immediately get the kills. Terror on bot side. Rift Herald's here. That's going to be both in favor of Fnatic.
Wow, and this play all started off with MAD attacking Oscarinin. And you know what the difference between week 1 and now is, Medic? The boys are here for their top laner, all right? Very quickly, Fnatic was ready to support their top laner. Humanoid was quick to respond, and in a 2 versus 3, they held their own, right? We saw them going in this back and forth skirmish where, like, the second that he's getting collapsed on, you can see Humanoid saying, hey, you know what? I actually think we can fight this. Oscarinin does what he can to create space. The damage is good for Humanoid. Nisqy is a little hesitant because the ultimate comes out from Oscarinin. And Nisqy not having that ultimate means that a lot of damage is unavailable for him. The flash comes out from Humanoid, the flash from Elyoya, and then the collapse as we see in number 5.
Elyoya hook back once again. TP's coming in from both sides, and actually that TP is going to be very deep from Oscarinin. They dive immediately onto Razork. He's fallen. The slicing mouse coming out as well, but Oscarinin doesn't quite have the damage. Humanoid trying to trade back in. Advienne putting his body in the way, but his body is melted through, and MAD Lions turning around in a heartbeat.
It just looks so good, and then Fnatic toss it all away.
Fnatic, Rekkles wasn't there. He has 4 kills. He is so strong, and you just picked a fight without him. Fnatic, this coordination issue is something that we have seen from them time and time again. It feels like that the game... How does the game get away from you? Like, you were in such a good position.
You've heard of a Lee Sin call of the queue. This is the call of the hook.
But just look
as
at the
soon
map.
as you land it, you gotta go.
Kennen is going top. Rekkles is nowhere near this fight. And like they're saying, oh, we've got to pick on Sejuani? That's who we've got to pick on? Like, Elyoya immediately turns this one around. They melt through Razork, and then the TP comes in from Oscar as he's making his way top. But again, this fight is still at a numbers disadvantage. It goes from 3v5 to 3v5. And Fnatic, you were in a great position to turn this game in your favor, equalize the score 1-1, and now you've given a Baron over to MAD.
Yeah, hook with an F in that case, and now you got MAD Lions who are going to get to push in. You got already Chasy down on this bottom side, trying to make sure he can keep up this pressure. So get the vision on bot, immediately push in, collapse on towards mid. It becomes very easy now for MAD Lions to get a lot of these outer structures down.
And a little bit of over-eagerness there from Fnatic. Immediately pounced on by the Lions. Still a lot of standing gold for MAD, only taking 2 towers so far. They'll try and use this Baron to its full effect.
I think it's important to recognize that given the deficit that MAD Lions were in, the fact that they got a bunch of shutdowns, they got a bunch of gold back thanks to the Baron, you can see that Carzzy is 500 gold ahead, and now Humanoid, he's likely to lose his life.
Nature's Gas coming out. Will it get there in time? The Everboss does its work. And Humanoid, I said it in 2019 in a side lane, Humanoid dies.
That he does, Medic. That he does. A quick collapse from MAD. You have to acknowledge, maybe they can't contest the Dragon, but it is spawning in 30 seconds. The teleport is available for Nisqy. Humanoid has just spent his, which means that Fnatic likely going to concede this one. Not the end of the world to them, though, as it will just equalize the Dragons 2-2.
Yeah, the reset's coming through. You have the Hex Gates to get into position as well, so MAD Lions going to be able to get back out onto the map. I like that Nisqy stuck around in topside, though. Yes, it would have been nice to spend that goal, but I think actually getting potentially a bit more pressure here could be worthwhile, but is now going to actually take the reset and make sure they can keep the pressure with it.
Obviously, Baron recall is helping them out a little bit in terms of getting back in those Hex Gates as well, a possibility. Nisqy, he almost walked past it. I was looking at the mini-map that I do it all the time in my solo queue games. He's like, oh, I just passed down mid. Nope. Goes back, gets the Hex Gate, and as you say, Fnatic won't fight this Drake. No real point for them to do so. And Honor's even now, basically in every metric between these two teams. Same kills, same dragons, basically the same gold as well.
But I think that the gold at the top is very deceptive. You need to look at the gold differences in the bottom of your screen, yeah, because Carzzy has so much gold now. He's basically on par with Rekkles, if not ahead. And then also in the top lane, Chasy is just so rich. He is so much stronger. The only real advantage that Fnatic have is their mid laner over Nisqy, who has gone for a very low damage build. But his responsibility in this game right now is to just steal away Maokai ultimate, steal away Kennen ultimate, and just be a massive CC bot to allow Carzzy and Chasy to be the big carries in the fights.
Yeah, the fact that Carzzy is near on those 3 items is going to be absolutely terrifying. And unless Oscarinin gets access to him, he's going to have a lot of free reign. It's kind of difficult for Razork to really be able to find access to the Zeri in that back line when you've got so many members that would be able to tank up the ultimate that comes through from the Maokai. Resets coming through here with the Baron buff now falling off. It's a case again, I think, wait until we actually get these dragons up and available, get that Baron up and available before we see any real action from MAD Lions. But I think Advienne will be trying to see if he can get his hands on anyone to look for a quick pick.
It's crazy to think former champions now find themselves in an elimination match. MAD Lions are more recent champions as Fnatic, I believe what you said, Medic, 5 years ago was the last time this team hoisted a trophy, to find themselves battling to avoid being, what, 8th place here in the LEC?
Yeah, MAD would get 8th if they lose. Fnatic could get 7th, I think, or would they still get 8th?
But,
yeah,
it's
7th or 8th.
For these two teams, former title holders, to be in this position, you can see how much the league has evolved and how much harder it is to go on top of the LEC.
I mean, the last time Fnatic won, Hilly and Rekkles were playing on the same team, right? The only time that Hilly has actually won the LEC was with Rekkles, and now going up against each other, trying to see if they can knock out their former teammate.
Of course, winner of this plays up against Astralis tomorrow to make it into our top 4. Humanoid trying to defend this bot wave as it does push in. Still a minute and a half before we get that Baron, so probably a minute and a half before we see a real fight erupt. This is more just poking, seeing if there's a weakness in the armor of your enemy, seeing if perhaps someone overstays, and of course, Blitzcrank very good at finding those picks in these sorts of situations. The issue always is, with Blitzcrank, vision is the name of the game. Vision is king, and if you can deny vision from your opponents, it makes it a lot harder to track where that Blitzcrank hook can come from.
Grievous wounds being picked up for Fnatic members to help mitigate some of the healing, as Razork going full healing himself.
Yep.
That is, he's basically like, I'm Soraka, but budget.
And with more CC.
Yeah, and with more CC.
And I don't look like Jayce.
True. For those at the beginning of the cast,
well, we haven't seen all of his skins yet.
Yeah. But right now, MAD is setting up around the Baron, spawning in 35 seconds. This will be a big point of contention. Nisqy steals the ult.
There's the Glacial Tomb as well as they look to lock up Razork. He does have to flash away, tanks the Nature's Grasp.
I will say, though, overall, not bad for Fnatic.
Yeah.
While they do lose the flash from Razork, they haven't lost any ultis. Whereas MAD have now invested 2 with the Baron spawning in 15 seconds. Now, Fnatic will have to make their way back into the river. But there's a real possibility here for Fnatic to be the team to force this fight.
Yeah, I think though that with Nisqy going to have his ultimate back up in a little bit, there's nice words.
Oh, you're right.
Behind. Yeah, for Fnatic as well. You still have to be very, very careful. Razork now potentially in trouble, but he goes in.
Advance going in. Fnatic trying to just jump in as quickly as they can. They get it through the wish. Fnatic kill off the enemy jungler. And again, it was MAD Lions a little bit split. They were trying a pincer maneuver from mid, push that through, come in through the top side of the jungle, but they couldn't actually enact it in time. Oscarinin now still has that slicing maelstrom, has the flash as well. The Baron secured for Fnatic at the end. The hook on Hilly! Pulls him back in. Straight to his demise.
Great play there from Fnatic. They pick off Elyoya, they get the support, and now they'll get the resets in just in time for this Dragon as well, and make sure the MAD Lions can't really contest it. Brilliant stuff from Fnatic.
I think Fnatic just used MAD's aggression against them. The fact that they did commit those 2 ultimates meant that Fnatic had a very clear window. MAD, after securing that control, immediately reset, and they were saying, you know what, we can't afford to fight right now, let's just wait. And in that window, Fnatic gained control, and it was a bit of a mistake from Elyoya to believe that he could move back into that space without his team, as it was Fnatic's opportunity to claim control. They find the pick, they find the Baron, and now it's MAD who's on the run.
Flash for flash, that's the trade you want. Makes it a lot more difficult for Nisqy to actually play this next fight, but in fact, it looks like MAD Lions aren't even going to play around this Dragon. It is the only sole point for Fnatic, wouldn't be the soul itself. And with it being up in 8 seconds and all of MAD retreating, looks like it should be Fnatic's to secure.
There's not a huge amount that MAD Lions can really get on these side lanes though. Sure, Zeri can push in, but... Oh, we got him! What?
Wow!
They extended the range of Blitzcrank hook a while ago, and it still surprises me. That's the edge of the hitbox there. Huge hook from Advienne. His last few moments in this game have been absolutely top-notch. Spotted Nisqy when he was waiting around the red buff, burnt his flash, then lands the hook on Hilly. And now 2 inhibitors, their prize. Fnatic probably won't play for the win here. We'll just play double inhib base or use the Hex Gate out. Razork, though, wait a sec, with a Glacial Prison. Goes in with a Twisted Advance. Redemption coming out as well. Chasy low has that GA to bring him back, though. TP coming in from Oscarinin. Is he Hex Gated out? The stopwatch. So much damage from Oscar as well. And MAD, again, their aggression thrown back in their faces as Fnatic can look to end the game.
Carzzy gets hooked once more by Advienne, and without the carry of MAD alive, Fnatic are looking to end the game.
Razork going in, Elyoya going low, Elyoya flashes out, Elyoya dies! And Fnatic will even and out 1 game between them and a matchup with Astralis.
Fnatic and MAD will equalize the series. And I gotta say, gentlemen, Fnatic definitely threw quite a few times that game, but to their credit, they found great windows to come back. In the early game, we saw some great map movements. The way in which they set up the dives towards the top side of the map, the way in which they punished Chasy was great to watch. And I think that in that small pocket of vision where they used to try and punish the MAD Lions, we saw it in the bot lane as well when Rekkles secured a bunch of kills. Like overall, I think that Fnatic found great windows to take advantage of MAD's over-aggression, and they're able to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, even that last call, right? Who needs a Dragon when you can take the game? They say, hey, look, we see this area on top side. Let's just go and push mid. We get the pick onto Hilly very, very quickly, and then they can actually just snowball that into a big advantage. So great job from Fnatic.
It definitely helps when Elyoya then engages on you in their base and dies. It makes it a lot easier for you to close out the game. Good stuff from Fnatic all round, though, and I think it's going to be a very interesting Game 3 because it's going to be it's a battle of the throws, really, isn't it? And that's quite exciting to watch. We'll be back after the break with a preview of the final game of the series, Fnatic versus MAD Lions. You stay tuned.